Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sport on Channel 18, that's Public Access TV. My name is Dirk Keller. This is Bob Boyd, dressed in his best green.
I'm getting ready for St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
When is that?
Yeah, you got another month.
Next month.
Hey, when you're Irish, you're Irish.
17th.
Over here to the far side is Pat White. Pat,
Dirk,
always good to have you
good to
here.
see
You're
you.
looking sharp today.
I've got a little dinner engagement
Have an
tonight.
engagement?
Was too lazy to get dressed twice.
I don't blame you. As always, Earl the Pearl Murphy is back.
The one and only.
And we have a new background. We've had some comments that the background has been difficult to pick us up in front of.
Really?
So we're trying this blue background. Joe Murphy does not approve of this change, but he said, do what you want. So we'll see what you think, and we'll go from there. I hope everybody's doing well, healthy, and all that good stuff. The Hawkeye football team is the first story we want to talk about a little bit today. Since we met last week, there's been some news. A couple hires on the coaching staff. One of them we expected, LeVar Woods,
Yep.
is the new linebackers coach.
That's good.
LeVar is a former Hawkeye linebacker, go figure, and a former NFL player. He played for the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's the only team he played for.
No, he played for a couple others.
Did he?
I think there were four.
I think
Really?
part of a year with the Bears.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you can see how much I pay attention to the NFL.
Cardinals first. Cardinals were his
Yeah.
main team.
Was he there, what, Pat, 7 or 8 seasons?
I think he was with the Cardinals 4 years.
Yeah.
He had a good career.
Yeah.
He did.
And now he's our linebackers coach. We also have a new offensive line coach. None other than Brian Ferentz, somebody we speculated about over the last couple of weeks. And he comes back home to Iowa City from the New England Patriots, where he had a very successful professional career as
And
a
I
coach.
think a good hire. I think the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
that he's going to be 29 and LeVar is 34. I think to have a couple young coaches on the staff to relate and to recruit is a good thing. Don't you guys?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's very good. And
Yeah.
Brian also brings a little different personality, some of which I suspect is due to being the coach's son. I don't know how many of you heard his interview with Dolph last Sunday, I think
Yeah.
it was. He was clearly more outgoing, ocular. He was kidding about being the young coach, so he had to stay home from the cruise to do some work. We don't usually hear jokes from Kirk's staff.
No.
They're
Yeah.
pretty buttoned
That's
up.
a real good point, Pat.
That is good. I
was
didn't
very
know that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, Bob, both LeVar and Brian are younger than I think any of the other coaches on the staff. And they bring a different set of tools and skills to
Yeah. And I think all the fans that we've talked to, friends of ours, I think everybody to a person that I've talked to think they're both real good hires and pretty
Oh,
enthused
yeah.
about it. So,
Now, do any of you have older brothers?
no.
Now, there's an interesting aspect to this.
That
Yes,
would be
there
true.
is.
Being coached by your older brother, who you grew up wrestling and pushing around. And
Yeah.
But you know what? He's got the upper hand. He's probably always had the upper hand with these two brothers.
he's not
Jamie?
as James is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's got a bum knee.
That's true.
If you remember, Brian had pretty serious, well, he had a knee injury and subsequent surgery, and after the surgery there was, I believe, a staph infection.
Yes.
Does that sound right? And there was a time, and I remember this well, we talked about it on the show, where there was great concern that he would lose his leg.
That's correct.
And he recovered and came back to play.
Can't you die from that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he play, was that before his junior year or his senior year? Because he played at least one
For
year
his-
on that bad leg.
Yeah, it was before
Maybe
his
two.
senior year.
Okay.
I mean, he came back and played his senior year full.
Yes.
That I remember.
And started.
Yeah. Oh, you can die from staph. I almost died from staph infection. It doesn't take much.
Where did you have it? Where
I
did
got
that happen?
Well, I got athlete's foot from playing 8
Don't you have to
straight.
be an athlete to get that?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
It helps. I was playing softball in the state
League.
and we started at 8 in the morning and played 8 straight games, and your feet get wet in the early morning from the dew.
Wow.
And I didn't have a change of socks or shoes. It was a week before my wedding.
Oh,
And
my.
I got athlete's foot, went to Europe on honeymoon and didn't have air conditioning in the car. They were going through a heat wave over there. And I just, I was putting ointment on it the whole time I was in Europe, but back, and not even back a week, and all of a sudden one day I had a big old red streak going up my leg.
Wow.
And felt like I had a fever. I did have a fever, and felt like I had flu symptoms. And long story short, I spent Labor Day weekend in the hospital. I spent 5 days in the hospital. It was the same weekend when Miami University came to town to play the first night game at Kinnick
I
Stadium.
remember that well.
And I missed the whole thing. I missed the whole everything. And I had 3 very valuable tickets for that game, which made for interesting hospital visits from friends.
What was that, like 92 or something like
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
that? That's really an unusual way to get a staph infection.
Yep.
I had no idea you could get it from athlete's foot.
Yeah.
That's, wow.
I did everything I was supposed to, but
Well, that's the number one problem in Vietnam.
staph infections,
Yeah, I mean, especially there.
they get that swamp foot. Yep.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that's pretty much what I got.
Wow.
And that's, wrestlers have to deal with staph infection all the time because of the mat burns, and
Yeah.
football players with AstroTurf, they get it. And I'm sure that's where Brian got it. And
Probably.
yeah, he's alive to tell the story. And
And the
We're-
coaches, I know, coach isn't that Brian's boss?
yeah, yeah, James will be coach. His position coach will
Jim
be his
could
older
be
brother.
yelled-
Yeah,
James could
yeah.
be yelled at twice.
Yeah, and then
His dad from-
Stephen will also be a walk-on the team, but
I
we
know.
assume he'll be a tight end
Okay.
or
Tight end or linebacker?
linebacker.
probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on how much he grows.
Well, that should be an interesting dynamic to watch for the next
It-
year.
Yeah,
So-
that will.
Yeah.
Do you know,
Yeah.
Pat, is there any other school out there that you can think of that has a father-son combo on the coaching staff with son or two
Well,
playing?
Joe Paterno had a son on the coaching staff.
Yes.
I'm sure, playing, I don't know.
Yeah.
That may be unique.
Well, another famous one was Lou Holtz had his son Skip,
Yeah.
didn't he? And his
Uh-huh.
staff at Notre Dame and maybe South Carolina. But there's been a lot of that over the years, but not in the Big Ten, we don't think, right
Nope.
now, huh?
And Kirk, is he now the dean of Big Ten
Yes,
coaches?
he is.
He is.
Pretty incredible.
Starting his 14th season.
And Lisa Bluter, is she the
She's the dean
the
of.
Duchess of? I don't know what you call. She's the.
Oh, you
yeah.
can have women deans.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that. She's the longest term women's
Yeah.
coach in the Big Ten. Wow.
She and Kirk both came here in '99,
Yeah.
and they're still here. And it's a
Well,
testament to commitment and sticking to it.
Well, and longevity, I think, is always a good thing if you have people
Who
like
was the woman's
what you're
coach
talking
before?
about there, those two coaches.
Angie Lee.
Angie Lee, she was before Lisa.
She
How
was-
long did she coach?
She was
4 or
between
5?
Vivian and
I'm gonna say
Lisa.
5.
I think about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Kirk Ferentz has another decision to make.
Well, at least one. Now, if he picks Eric Campbell or Lester Erb as the offensive coordinator, then he may have an opening for another spot.
Right.
Like we saw on defense, he moved people around, and so
Right.
it's not impossible that there's actually still some shifting to go.
Yeah.
There are a lot of rumors out there about potential offensive coordinators. That's the last position that remains open. And what Pat's referring to is if you hire from within, you still have a coaching vacancy that you can fill for the quarterbacks coach, for example, or move position coaches around like Kirk did on defense when he hired Phil Parker to be the defensive coordinator. So we're not going to learn anything new for a while because the coaching staff is on the cruise, the Hawkeye cruise.
Till Sunday.
Most of them.
Well, yeah.
The new offensive line coach is not.
Yeah, that's
Do you
right.
think LeVar went on the
I
cruise?
don't know.
It'd be
I would bet
interesting.
not.
Yeah, I bet not either. That's kind of what I figured. So somebody's got to stay back and run the store.
That's right.
You know, I have a friend, wife who were on the cruise. I can't wait to hear the stories. But have you ever been on the cruise,
Never have.
Pat? Earl, you?
Yeah. Mhm.
I know you did. You won a trip
Yeah,
at the iClub party one year.
or I wouldn't have been there, so.
Yeah. How about you, Bob?
No, almost went 1 year, but backed out. I don't know why, don't remember, but no, I have not been on that Hawkeye cruise.
I'd like to try it someday.
I hear it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Unless the boat capsizes.
that would not be fun. We can speculate all we want about the offensive coordinator, but I don't know what good it does.
No. Well, there's the Glenn Davis thing. There's the Tom Moore rumor. There's the internal coordinator rumor. Who knows?
That's right.
Guess we'll find out next week, maybe, huh?
I wouldn't count on next week knowing.
When spring ball start?
24th of March, Murph.
Okay.
It's the first day of practice?
I think so.
And what do they get, 15 practices, 15 days?
15 or 18, Pat, do you remember?
No, I don't. I think the spring game is somewhere around the 18th of April.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk more about it next week if we know anything more.
Yeah.
I thought we ought to talk about the Iowa women's basketball team now. This is the last week of the regular season for college basketball for women. And the Hawkeye women are on a hot streak, 6 in a row. And they've been off for about a week.
It was a honey.
Oh, man.
Well, they've been playing well, and Pat knows better than anybody, but one thing we need to remind the viewers is this, that in Big Ten women's basketball, they play 16 league games, and in men's Big Ten, they play 18 league games. So, but this is the week, yeah.
That's primarily because the women's Big Ten tournament starts a week early.
Yes.
So that they don't have to run them at the same time. They
Mhm.
go back-to-back weeks in Indianapolis.
And didn't they start the Big Ten Conference a week earlier this year? It was before Christmas, if I remember.
We played at least in late December. I'm not sure if it was before Christmas. I think it was right after, as I recall.
Yeah.
Let's just see here. I've got my handy dandy little pocket schedule.
Seems like it starts earlier every year, but
Northwestern was on December 30th. Pat is right.
As part of this 6-game winning streak, Samantha Logic is just doing tremendous things.
Oh.
At one point went over Michigan, she brought 18 rebounds.
Think of that.
Which is, she's 5'9", she's playing mostly point guard, a little two guard,
Yeah.
gets 18 rebounds, 9 offensive, 9 defensive. She's our leading offensive rebounder for the season, and she's now within 1 rebound of Morgan Johnson for our leading overall rebounder.
You're kidding.
No. 161 to 160.
bet she'll have it at the end of the year. She's pretty aggressive on
She's
boards.
going after the ball.
Yeah.
She was the Big Ten Player of the Week.
Freshman. Player,
Freshman,
yeah.
I'm sure.
And that's her
Well-
second in a row.
Yeah.
Second in a row,
Well-
Big Ten Freshman Player of the Week.
Didn't she have 13 rebounds a game before, Pat?
That sounds right.
I mean, that's, wow,
But
31.
that game was the same night the men played at Penn State,
Uh-huh.
and both teams were behind by 14 points at halftime.
Yep.
And the women on Camille Hualien's three-pointer with 46 seconds to go went 1 point up and won by 1. The men had a heck of a comeback. It just fell slightly short.
It was interesting. I went to the Wigan Penn because I knew I could watch both games there at the same time and not drive my family nuts, flipping back and forth. And it was, that first half was depressing on both counts.
It was.
Oh.
Nobody could do
yeah.
anything right. And hey, Ted Supple.
Hey.
Ted Supple, come on down. Supple's Flowers. Make sure that we're decked out every week on our.
Right on time again.
Right on time.
Thanks,
We're on
Ted.
Supple time.
Better late than
Appreciate
never.
it.
Thank you, Ted.
Isn't that pretty? Look at those. Aww.
Looks good to me.
Nice. Yeah. Bob approves.
Yeah, I like those.
Hey, now wait a minute. Are these arrangements getting smaller? I don't know. Anyway,
Well, the day's over, they gotta work with
That's
what's
right.
left, I mean.
those games last Thursday really started out poorly and was, I think, every Hawkeye fan's greatest fear that both teams will go on the road and shoot poorly and just fall apart. And kudos to the women.
Oh, boy.
They fought back.
First half, they couldn't make a basket. We weren't defending, couldn't
No.
get a rebound. Second half, just gradually kept creeping closer and closer and closer. Gets a lot of credit for that 3, which was, I think, now the 8th time in her career that she's hit either a tying or a game-winning 3 under a minute. It's pretty amazing, albeit slightly obscure statistic. But one of the things that led to that was a high post screen by Morgan Johnson, which was just terrific.
Yes.
Camille came around and she was fairly wide open, albeit quite a distance from the basket.
Wasn't that the first lead we had, Pat? The winning basket
Well,
in
you
the
know,
game?
one of the statistics.
I mean,
that
how
you-
often does that happen?
At the
you know?
bottom of the box scores, you see a lead changes statistic.
Yeah.
Well, that game there was one.
One.
Michigan led the whole game.
Didn't we make threes in a row?
Yes.
Yes, Logic made one.
Camille made one
Camille
before
made
that.
one, Logic made one, and
Yep.
Camille made another.
Yeah.
And
That's 9 points.
and each time it just felt like they were creeping back at a good pace, or positioning themselves to be ready for that game-winning shot that Camille eventually hit. I'm telling you, it's coaching. You, as a coach, have to have the ability to, I guess, to translate what you want the players to do into action. And Lisa Bluter has had that ability for years. A team that we've talked about so often, beset by injuries.
Oh, boy.
And they'll hit a rough patch every year with injuries, but by golly, end of the season, they are ascending.
This is an example of a theory that you don't have to yell at your players to succeed. She is just always so positive.
That's a real good point.
You just never see her barking at her players the way some coaches do, and some do it with success.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not Lisa's style. It's
She'll
always,
go after an official now and then,
Yes,
which is good.
but she's always positive with the players as they come off the court or as they're in the huddle.
Are both games at home?
Well, the women Thursday night are at Northwestern.
They are.
And then Sunday afternoon, they're home in the last game of the year.
Yeah, now tomorrow night, women are at Northwestern for a 7 o'clock game. No TV. It's on KXIC. You know what? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's either KXIC or WMT.
It will be on WMT most likely, for sure.
Yeah, it's either 600 a.m. or 800 a.m. 7 o'clock start.
There's no wrestling, so.
No,
But there's men's basketball. That's the problem.
KXIC will be taking the men, I'd say. Is that on the
I
Big
don't
Ten
think so.
network? or no?
Sometimes KXIC takes them, sometimes they don't, and the women slide off to an obscure station in Cedar Rapids.
I think it's going to be the other way around. I think the women will be on 800, and the men will be on 600.
But it's a
Okay.
game-by-game choice by the individual station. So
Okay.
if anybody's upset with it, talk to the station involved. They decide what they're going to
Yeah.
carry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a big game. Northwestern, they don't have the best record. I thought I wrote down the
But they can
record.
beat you.
Oh, they can beat you.
We beat them over there pretty good.
Beat them here.
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 First
Oh, I'm
Big
Ten.
sorry. Here,
First
yeah.
Tomorrow,
Big
the-
Ten game
Wasn't
of
it
the
like
year.
30 points or something, the women beat
It was
them?
pretty good. I
Yeah. It was
a
forget-
laugher.
I forget the score.
Yeah.
I remember the ladies were all having a good time that game.
We don't have the best of luck at Northwestern. Oh, Ryan, what is that stadium? What's that called?
Welsh Ryan.
Welsh Ryan Arena.
Ryan Arena, geez.
Yeah. Well, last road game of the regular season for the gals, and I think they're going to rise to the occasion. They need it's a winnable game, and then they come home Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock start for Senior Day, last home game of the year, and there are a number of notable seniors on this team. First and foremost, Kelly Cry from City High. I'm not going to be able
All
to say that
rhymes,
anymore.
All that rhymes.
Yep, I've been saying that for 4 years. Kelly Cry from City
City
High.
High, yeah.
Another 3. Really loved watching her play in high school and in college, and I'm going to miss seeing her out there.
Yeah, she's been playing well, too. She's now, her season-long average on rebounds is now 6, which is pretty darn good. She's playing good defense. She's averaging about 6.5 points a game. We'd probably prefer that she was scoring a little more, but she's
Yeah.
played really good defense, rebounded really
Yeah.
well. And she's so steady.
And I look for her to even pick it up a little more as we get into the postseason.
What's Pat? You know these gals pretty well.
Biomedical
Yeah.
engineering.
Yeah. Isn't that what you majored in?
I can't even spell it. You kidding me?
She's
She gonna go to med school or?
I think she's thinking about it. I don't know that she's made a final decision. Morgan Johnson is going to go to med school.
Wow, and that's
She's a pre-med major, but
Kelly is a sharp
Yep.
gal. Gonna miss seeing her out
yeah,
there.
her mom and dad are very proud of her.
That's right.
Oh, we know
Brian
they
and
are.
Colleen.
Yeah.
Camille Hualien, another senior we're gonna lose. Is she the leading scorer now that Jamie's out? Leading scorer on the floor?
No, I think Morgan is
Is
probably
she?
the leading scorer.
Okay.
They'd have to be pretty
But
close.
Camille's come up. Certainly
Yeah.
Camille has picked up some of the load that Jamie Prenti took out with her.
She
Camille
had to.
started a little slower this year, didn't she?
Yeah, she back problems.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
Yeah.
boy, running up and down the court and playing point guard is tough if your back hurts. And
How about Johnson?
She's a junior.
Junior.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
how is she?
Virginia Johnson.
Verge.
Oh,
Virginia Johnson.
She's still sitting out. I haven't heard this week, but she hadn't dressed again. She's still having headache problems. They can't identify that she had any concussion contact last one, but they put her in at Indiana, which was the
Like a minute, right?
second game in this 6-game winning
Uh-huh.
streak. And she was, within the first 30 seconds, 2 Indiana players blew by her and scored. And obviously she just wasn't right. They took her out, and then she's been complaining and diagnosed again with headaches. So she's going through the concussion protocol again.
Which
But-
basically means shutting down everything.
But yeah, and again, she's
Yeah.
now missed a couple weeks of practice, so even if she gets cleared, she'll be a little out of shape.
because you not only don't practice, you don't even work out, do you, in that
No.
concussion protocol?
Nope.
In fact, the first time she was going through it, they wouldn't even let her out on the arena floor. The lights are so bright, they wanted her
Wow.
in dark places.
Are you able to go to class when you have
I
a?
assume you are.
I wear a baseball cap at the games.
Yeah,
Do you really?
Sure.
some people do.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shame. We need her. We need that big body, that big presence in there.
The reason those lights are so bright is because City Electric Supply sold them, I think.
Is that a true story?
I don't think so.
Of course.
The women have a couple of other seniors. Callie Hansen from Clarence, Iowa, is going to be out here. She's only been here 2 years.
From
but
Kirkwood.
I like her. She's had injury issues this year with was it groin?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a groin injury.
She went through 2 to 3 weeks that she could barely walk.
Is that right?
She's actually been a key player in the last couple of wins. Last home win, she steal just as soon as she got in the game, and she's made some free throws coming down the last couple of minutes that have been a big help.
Well, Callie is tough as nails. You can see it in her expression. She's not someone who's going to be intimidated by anybody, and I don't think she's going to take any lip off anybody either. I like her court presence, her demeanor.
Yeah.
I hope she gets some more playing. I think more playing time if Virginia
If
doesn't
she's
come
well,
back.
she will.
Yeah. So, and then Megan Considine. Can you talk about her story a little bit?
Well, she was a walk-on. I think this is her 3rd year now on the team. She first walked on. She was sort of recruited out of the
Right.
student body when we were down to about 7 healthy bodies, and she had played high school basketball. And she showed up, and I remember Lisa went through tryouts, student tryouts. Had people down just watching to see who could handle the ball and who could guard. And Megan was picked to walk on the team, and she's stuck it out now for 3 years.
Sean
She-
Considine's sister, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
former Hawkeye football player.
And she ruptured her Achilles tendon just almost as soon as practice started this year and has missed the whole season. Really nice.
And she's done. She won't be coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Just think of all the good teams Lisa Bluter has had,
Well,
and how much better they could have been if she just had such hard luck with key players and
Yeah.
and there's-
injury-wise.
There's a similar story with Hannah Draxton, who's
Yeah.
also a senior, who's fought back problems really her whole career. And she started out as a freshman with great promise. She was an outstanding three-point shooter. She was logging quite toward the end of her freshman year. And then the back problems got worse, and the last year and a half, year and three-fourths, she just hasn't played. And she's what Lisa calls a student coach. She's there at every practice, on the bench, every game, very involved with her teammates, cheering them on. But she just hadn't been able to play basketball. And I talked to her dad probably about a month ago, and he said she hadn't felt as good as she feels now since she'd been in Iowa. That the decision to just stay out of basketball and the physical activity that comes with it has been a great thing for her health.
Good.
She actually feels good now. It doesn't hurt to walk across campus or get up in the morning.
Is she still an undergrad?
Yes, yeah.
And does she want to be a coach?
That I don't know.
Now, seniors do we have? Is that five seniors?
That's five.
Five.
Okay.
So Kelly Cry, Camille Hualien, Megan Considine, and Callie Hansen. That's four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who am I forgetting?
Braxton, is she a senior?
Draxton.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, of those, really, you really had two that had considerable court time, and the
Kelly
other
and
three
Camille.
really were the injury situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you can
think-
get out there Sunday, do.
I think actually had more minutes last year. She's been slowed a little by the injury, and earlier in the year, I think Beth Doolittle got some of the minutes that Callie was getting last year. Tiara Taylor's played more minutes.
Yep. And played well.
Yes, she had. She's
Now-
probably still the most athletic player we have, even with her knee problems.
Do you sense that she still favors the knee,
Yeah,
or
I
is
do.
afraid?
There's still a little, and why wouldn't there be when you've had three knees, 3 surgeries,
Unreal.
1 in high school and 2 since you've been here? You would worry.
Well, will Taylor have 1 year left or 2
Two.
years?
She's
After
she's
this year.
technically a redshirt sophomore.
Okay.
She came in with Morgan Johnson and Jamie Prenty, but
Yeah.
she's a year behind because of the knee injury.
And how's Jamie Prenty her recovery from knee surgery?
Well, I think it's been too early to tell. She's been at the games,
Yeah.
sitting behind the bench with her leg elevated.
Does she have a cast?
Yes,
She does.
yeah. One of the things I learned about ACL surgery is that they also did a minor surgical procedure on her leg and took out a piece of her hamstring to use in her left knee as part of the repair. That they needed tissue as part of the ACL repair,
They needed parts.
and they made a choice
I'll be
to
darned.
do a fairly minor surgery on her right leg and cut out a piece of her hamstring, which I guess will heal and regenerate.
And that's this one under here, on the back side of your leg.
Who did the surgery?
You know,
Do you know?
I don't know for sure. I assume it was Brian Wolf
Okay.
who does most of the athletic department surgeries.
That's
Young
something.
orthopedic physician.
I wonder
Yeah.
how big a piece they'd have to take out of you.
I can't be very big, an inch or two, but it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, it is.
Did she know going in they were going to do that?
Yes,
or-
yes.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, if you get a chance, get out Sunday,
I heard
2 o'clock.
the other option, by the way, was to use a cadaver.
I would have gone with the cadaver
yeah.
myself.
That's dead weight, though.
But no, there are some
Good one, Bob.
safety features in using your own tissue.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a little more risk with something that's foreign to your body.
Who do we play Sundays? At Michigan?
Michigan.
Again, Michigan,
Yeah.
a week
We
later.
just played them,
And
but
Okay.
they're into town, and
That'll be
they're
tough.
watching their coach. Speaking of coaches who yell at players, their coach is one who I just does that all the time.
Yeah.
He's either yelling at referees or his own players.
I watched the Michigan State Purdue game. Is that right? The other day?
Girls or boys?
Women, yeah. And the Michigan State coach is one who never, I don't see her yell either.
She yells.
Does she?
Yeah, she's very tiny,
Yeah.
and she, while the refs are running down the sideline, she's often in their ear in ways that aren't terribly noticeable.
They beat Purdue, right? Michigan State, didn't they win that game?
Yes. Yes. And that was a game that helped Iowa.
What are the standings? Do we have those for the women?
We're now actually tied for
I don't know.
third.
Tied for third.
There's a real logjam from third down to about seventh or eighth.
Penn State beat the tar out of Ohio State last night.
And Penn State has pretty much cinched the Big Ten
Right.
regular season title.
What's their record, Pat? I mean, their
I think they're
conference.
I think they're at 11-3 now.
So they've got 2 less losses than we do. We're 9-5, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
But us, Nebraska, Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue are really blanketed. What the scramble is for fourth place and the fourth seed going into the tournament. The prevailing view is that it's an advantage to get that fourth seed because you don't play on Thursday and then you play a
Yeah.
team on Friday that's already played on Thursday. I have a slightly contrary view, which is that we need another win in terms of NCAA committee analysis, and playing on Thursday against the worst team in the league, which right now would be Indiana. They still haven't won a league game.
Be a nice benefit, wouldn't it?
Would potentially, I mean, you never say definitely, but potentially give us another win. And then if we won again on Friday, I think that would enhance our AA tournament chances.
Real good
So
point.
you'd rather see us at a 5th or 6th seed?
I would,
Yeah, well, that makes sense, yeah. Yeah,
but I think Lisa and the team would just as soon go into Friday's game not having
yeah.
played, run up and down the court for 40 minutes on Thursday.
Yeah, and when you think about Morgan Johnson's knees and Callie Hansen's groin and all the other bugaboos that we've got, you make a real good point. Plus, how many times have you seen the winner of the play-in game go on to beat the team that had a bye?
It's happened.
The other
Yeah,
team's warmed
yeah.
up and game ready, and the team that had the bye hasn't played in 5 days.
Well, the court that they're playing on is not foreign to them necessarily. They played the day before,
That's right.
and you're going out there with a bye, and you haven't, I mean, all those places are different. The bank boards, the rims are more sensitive or live, and
That's a good point.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Now, Pat, are there any promotions for the final home game on Sunday?
Yeah, well, there are. Fan Appreciation Day, they usually have prizes that are announced on the Hawk Vision board. People in given seats win prizes. Those are the main ones. And it's Senior Day, of course.
Yeah,
There'll
When
be
will the senior day be? Before or after the game?
after?
Oh, good.
good. That's always better. Even if you lose, it's
I
always
agree.
better.
I agree. Well, get out there if you can. 2 o'clock Sunday. Again, that game's not going to be on TV either. It will be on KXAC 800 AM. So let's talk about the men a little bit.
Okay.
They've got a winning record. It's the latest in the
Yeah.
season they've had a winning record at 14-13.
We still have a shot at postseason.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question.
Oh, yeah.
It's not impossible that we'd even make it to the NCAA. It's not very likely.
Not very likely. They'd have to win out and probably get to the championship game at least
Yeah.
of the Big Ten tournament.
But if they win 17 games, well, they have what, 4 regular season games left and at least one Big Ten tournament. That's 5.
Mm-hmm. That's 19
They'd have
and
to
13.
be 17 and 15 at worst. They'd have to win 3 of the last 5 to get to, let's say, worst case scenario, NIT.
I'd love it.
Well, there's even a couple other worst-case scenarios. In Iowa's situation, the worst-case scenario is actually good, because we haven't been there for a while. There are these other 2 tournaments. And Gary Barta has publicly said he would love to host a tournament game without being specific, which is a little change of position.
Yeah.
What it's been in the past. I don't think the Big Ten really encouraged its members to participate in those before.
Well, part of the problem we have here
Yeah.
with not, some postseason other than NCAA is hosting a game when the students are gone during spring break.
Yeah.
It's
True.
always the week of spring break, and we've all been there.
Well, you
Nobody
know what?
goes to those games.
They don't go anyway.
No.
The students don't go.
Well, yeah, it's not just the students.
Very
though.
well.
It's nobody goes to those games.
They're coming back, like the fandom as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
There are more students there than there were last year and
Yeah.
the year before.
And the students get in free tomorrow night. Free ice cream and free this, free that.
What time's that
There'll
game
be
start?
pizza
8 o'clock.
again,
Yeah, pizza. That game starts at 8 o'clock.
black and gold wigs.
Black and gold wigs.
I don't
Yeah.
get that one, but they've been giving them away. And the
Well,
kids are wearing
The
them.
kids like to get on TV.
Yeah,
So
Good.
and they usually do.
if they got the fright wig on, they do.
Yeah.
So big win Sunday over number 18 Indiana. That's the 3rd ranked team that Iowa has beaten this year. That's pretty impressive from where we've been.
Yeah, the Michigan game. Indiana.
Michigan and Indiana and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great to hand Indiana that loss after the way they pounded us.
And we match up pretty well against it on Thursday
I think
night, too.
the score is 2-0.
Agreed.
If you add about 2 games up and divide.
You think we're ahead?
No, they are. They are 2 points.
Oh, I see. I see.
Well, we can't talk about the Hawkeye men's team without talking about Matt Gaetz. He had a career high on Sunday against Indiana. He was 7 for 10 on 3-pointers. At one point, he hit 5 in a row.
That was fantastic.
He hit one at a point in the game where Indiana had come back.
Yeah.
And it really stopped their momentum, turned the game around, and Iowa never looked back from that point on.
Indiana had scored 9 points in a row until Matt hit
That's
that
right.
3.
Now, Matt played all 40 minutes of that game.
He's done that several times this
Yeah.
year.
Yes.
Not,
Frank keeps saying he's in the best shape of his life.
I believe it. He looks like it.
He could play a 40-minute game, take a short rest, and play another one.
Well, he hit the team in minutes for sure, doesn't he?
Yes.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so,
For
too.
the season, I mean.
I don't know who else would be close.
He's really, as his senior year winds down, he's beginning to move up in the ranks of all-time Hawkeyes. I've talked a little bit about it before. He now sits at 1,503 points for his career, and I think that has him in 12th place all-time scoring. But he's within the likely distance of about 3 more players. I think by next week he may be up as high as 10th, 9th, even
Wow.
moving toward 8th all-time.
Yeah.
The thumb.
That's incredible. That's a
He didn't
nice.
play.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah, he missed, well,
Junior year, wasn't it?
Who's
effective-
ahead of him, Pat, right now?
Roy
Uh,
Marble.
Well, right.
No, I
Mark.
mean in like
Oh,
11,
close.
10. Yeah,
The
close.
closest to him
Close
would
proximity.
Is
be,
it Horner, King?
no, that's in 3-pointers. He's
Okay.
within 10 of Chris Kingsbury in 3-pointers. He stands 3rd place now all-time in number of 3-pointers made. In scoring, right ahead of him would be Greg Bruner. He just passed Jeff Horner Sunday. I think Greg Bruner is next. Don Nelson, Andre Woldridge
Yep.
are all within reach in the next couple of games.
That in 3 years.
Yeah, he did.
Amazing. Just
Wow, yeah.
amazing. Well, Matt Gaetz has been a pretty amazing player, and we've talked about it before. Nobody deserves a postseason tournament more
And his thumb.
than Matt Gaetz.
That's for
Definitely
sure.
scoring down. too.
Yeah, that was a horrific injury to his shooting hand. I had
Yeah.
the same injury, and I'm telling you,
Realistically, that was almost 2 months that it held me,
Mhm.
held
Yeah.
me back.
yeah.
But he's still, even through that injury, I've told you this before, he's going to become, no question, the first player in the history of Iowa basketball to lead the team in free throw percentage every year,
All 4
years.
Yes.
He currently stands in 7th place in the history of the Big Ten Conference
Is that right?
in free throws made.
Any idea who leads?
Yes, I do. Our former coach, our old buddy Steve.
Good old
Yeah.
Steve Alford.
He's the all-time big free throw leader.
What was his percentage?
It
90
was
something.
right above 90.
Yeah.
He was all Big Ten.
And Matt is currently at 86.6.
Wow.
And he's got a chance if he, well, we don't want to jinx him, but if he went without missing very many, he'd even have a chance to climb up to 6th, 5th,
Wow.
which, I mean, that's pretty cool in the history of the Big Ten.
That's for sure.
It is. And Steve Alford, I remember, he was.
Automatic.
He was money.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things I remember about Steve, but
Well,
we won't go there.
what do you remember about him, Bob?
Well,
He was
I
he was a
guess-
bad fit for,
he was a bad fit.
Iowa City.
And there's a lot of things about that, but he was.
I never, I know people, they say that he was just terrible, but he was a great shopper in Bremer's, and he never asked for a thing.
Well, I think what a lot of people are talking about when they refer back to him and his tenure is, and forgive me if I'm speaking
Oh,
for
no,
you.
go ahead, no.
But it was, I think, the lack of success more so than anything else. We live here in Iowa City.
Well, all of the rumors.
And that's all, we've told our viewers in years past, don't believe it, don't listen to it. It's not true. But I think the overriding thing, besides Pierre Pierce, is just the lack of overall success.
that's a pretty big besides.
Yeah,
That's part of it.
yeah.
That's huge, the peer
That's what-
situation.
That's what he and I ended up yelling at each
Yeah.
other over.
Yeah.
I never thought Steve Alford was not a good coach. I think it was his personality that got him in more trouble than anything else, quite frankly. But the thing I really remember about him most was when he was a senior and they were playing the Carver,
Oh, yeah.
and he and Bobby Knight, well, Steve must not have been playing defense. He sat down the whole second
Whole
half, and we
second
won
half.
the game.
First team to ever score 100 points against Indiana that
Yeah.
day.
You guys remember that?
Oh, like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're
Serious.
just all sitting there going, when's he going to put Steve Alford back in the game? And he never got off the bench the second half.
Steve's having a good year at
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
New Mexico, and I assume we're part of his learning experience. And
Yep.
He's,
Well, in
he's
all,
probably both a better person and a better coach than.
all due respect, Pat, he's 23-5, and he's won over 21 games each season
Yeah.
that he's been in New Mexico. So,
Yep. And he'll make the NCAA again this
yeah,
year.
yeah.
But we'll see what they do with it. But, back to Matt Gaetz. Go ahead, Earl.
Pat, would you explain what happened? The yelling.
Well, I don't know that this is a good time to go into all the details of that. The main focus of that was the fact that when we were prosecuting Pierre Pierce, he kept being quoted in the paper, and he admitted that he was quoted as saying Pierce was innocent.
Yeah.
And
I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pierce eventually pled guilty to a criminal offense, and
Okay.
Obviously, he was not innocent.
Well, we all know of a lot of people that stopped going to games because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That really hurt the attendance, a lot of
Especially
women
the-
especially.
The wives.
He, by
Yeah,
the way, still
yeah.
blames me for all his troubles.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. He says I threw him under the bus.
Steve does?
Oh, yes.
Really?
We don't need to go there today.
We shouldn't, but it should have bigger.
What are you, a
tires.
Democrat?
I didn't know you were a bus driver.
No, I don't either. Is this a second career you have, Pat?
Well, let's go back to Matt
Let's,
Gaetz.
yeah, let's go back to
back to
Maggie.
that.
That's a better thing.
We had a stonewall.
We're
That's,
gonna-
hey, that's why they call it sports opinion. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
We're going to miss Matt, and we still got a couple opportunities to see him play at Carver Hawkeye Arena, at least a couple. And the next opportunity is tomorrow night when Wisconsin comes to town. It is an 8 o'clock game on the Big Ten Network. It's Matt Gaeton's bobblehead night, by golly. And,
We're going to whoop them.
you know, Matt has really elevated his game to a new level. He's really tried to carry this team
I think
on his
defensively,
shoulders.
he's just a devil, you know.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of steals. And
We want him to continue his flurry.
And I'd like to see him get to the foul line more, personally. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he does enough, is draw that contact. But he's good at it. He knows how to do it, but it's not
Very
the.
good at
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
You know, one
It's-
of the problems is nobody wants to foul it.
I know it.
Yeah, that's true.
When he starts for the basket, they may just as well let him go as give him
Yeah.
2 and 1.
Two
Where,
and
where is he
one.
ranked in the Big Ten? I couldn't find it.
In
Scoring.
scoring?
Scoring, Murph?
Yeah, in about the end.
Let's see here. I've got all kinds of statistics. Field
It's
goal,
not. It's clear at the back.
rebounding.
And then we started the show.
I would guess he's probably about 10th or 12th.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
got to be averaging,
Go
what,
back to the
16 or
beginning.
something like that, right?
Okay.
He's 15 something, I think.
Scoring wise, he is number 11 in the Big Ten. He is averaging 14.8 points per game.
15 points.
He's guys like Brandon Paul from Illinois, William Buford from Ohio State, Draymond Green from Michigan State, Bo Spencer, I didn't realize he was up that high, from Nebraska, Cody Zeller's number 6, Robbie Hummel is number 5, Drew Crawford from he's from
Yeah, Northwestern.
Michigan?
Northwestern.
Northwestern, okay.
he's
Dad
number
was an
4.
NBA official.
Wow.
Jared Sullinger is
You're right.
number 3. Tim Frazier from Penn State, that guy's a heck of a player. 18 and a half points a game. And John Sherna is number 1 in scoring at 20.2 points per game.
He just incidentally became Northwestern's all-time career leading scorer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why not. He's played there for like 8 years.
Yeah, I
hasn't
think so. Yeah.
he? Okay, here's free throw percentage.
With the oddest
Okay.
shot in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It looks like a two-handed. Oh, it's a goofy-looking shot. Gaeton's is actually number 2 in the Big Ten in free throw percentage at 866.
Who's ahead of him?
Yeah.
Bo Spencer from Nebraska.
Be doing?
What's
He's at
he shoot?
880.
88.
Now let's see. He has
Is that after Sunday?
yes after Sunday, but before any games this week.
Okay.
He's got 88 free throws out of 100. Bo Spencer. Matt Gaetz has made 84 out of 97. So there you
Okay.
go. Matt Gaetz is tied with William Buford from OSU. Although they have the same percentage, Buford has only attempted 67 free throws compared to Matt Gaetz at 97.
Big difference there. Wow.
Yeah. So
Spencer and Gates are real close.
yep, they are. Somebody else that we should mention about performance in the men's game, Melson Basabi.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that good to see?
It
It was
was.
great.
He was on a mission.
He may have made the difference when
He
the way
did.
he
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
right off the bat when he got in.
You think about it, McCabe, 2 fouls within less than a minute 30 to start the game, and he's out the rest of the half. You don't have Eric May. You don't have Bryce Cartwright. 2 starters right there out of the lineup. And then you lose your 3rd starter with a let 30 into the game. Here comes Melson, And like Pat said, he was the difference maker. He was a beast. And this is going up against a 7-foot center in Zeller from Indiana. Melson had, where are my stats here? 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 block shots.
Well, therein it lies the problem. You have McCabe or Melson, whichever one starts, gets those first 2 fouls. They cinch, and that's because they're 6'7" guys guarding 6'11", 7-foot centers in a 5 spot.
That's certainly part of it. Part of it with Melson has just been attitude and motivation. If he plays the way he did against Indiana, we probably have 3-4 more wins.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't lose both those Purdue games with Melson playing that way. You don't
Nebraska
lose to
doesn't.
Nebraska. You don't lose to Campbell. You might even have a fight against Creighton.
And Clemson.
And Clemson. Yes, good point.
Well, you're right, Pat, but, the season's not over. We've got 5 more games at least, so
Right.
maybe it's going to change now.
Well,
I hope so.
And again,
It'll make a big
if-
difference.
If he plays like that in the Big Ten tournament, we're a contender.
better believe it. And we got to get Bryce Cartwright healthy. We've got to get Eric May
But
healthy.
Marble is playing it lights out.
Yeah, he's terrific.
With that high ankle
Well, it is-
sprain, right, that's a
Our
tough.
sure just-
Stinks.
They
That's a
took
tough
care of
injury.
these, don't they?
He's very, very agile.
I don't think we'll see him this week.
It doesn't sound like it.
No.
Either one. Well, maybe, no. I guess May could play.
Sounds like it's possible, but there's no sense
No.
forcing him. And we got great production from the bench. That was one of the amazing things about
Yeah.
Indiana. Breimer,
Stokes.
Olaseni, Darius Stokes,
Yeah.
Archie?
One more. The little
Archie.
guard.
Oh, the little
Brandon
guy.
Stubbs.
Brandon Stubbs.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fran calls him Stubby.
They all
with good
contributed.
reason.
Yeah.
Well, he's not that short.
No,
What I didn't like about
Compared
Stubbs'
to the
play,
team, maybe,
he
yeah.
kept picking up the dribble
Yeah,
with somebody on him.
but he didn't ever turn it over.
But that's right. It just always bugs me when players do that. I don't like it.
Stokes is leading the team in seasonal field goal percentage,
Is he really?
100%.
One-
Yeah. So
That's right.
let's continue that.
Well,
That was nice to see.
it's going to be
Yeah.
a big test tomorrow night with number 15 Wisconsin coming to town.
Yeah.
They haven't forgotten what happened at the beginning of the season up there in Madison. It was a shocker, and they want some payback.
yeah, Gary Close. He's
Gary-
coming down.
Gary
Yeah,
Close will be
coming to
back,
town.
former Hawkeye assistant coach
Regina's close too.
and former Regina coach.
Yeah.
That's right, and an all-around good guy. We all
Oh.
got to know Gary when he was here.
He's a tremendous guy.
He is. It kills me to see
Earl
him.
and I
up there.
visited with him last year when he was here.
That's right.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where'd you see him?
We were waiting for the elevator,
Yeah, that's
and we were standing right outside the Wisconsin dressing room. He came out and stopped and talked to us for about 3 or 4 minutes.
He is a good guy. I used to actually work quite a bit with him.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was in radio, we used to make for recruits that would come to town. We would make a tape. Back then, it was a cassette tape of the last 30 seconds of the NCAA championship game, and the recruit is playing for Iowa and hits the game-winning shot.
Oh, jeez.
And
Yeah.
you're not even allowed to do that anymore.
Of course not. Yeah.
But Gary would have me do that for, a bunch of these recruits that came in. A lot of them came to Iowa, but a lot of them didn't.
Yeah.
But it was a nice touch that he did for these kids, and in fact, I used to fly with Gary to Bruce Springsteen concerts back in the day when I was single,
Yeah.
and we would go all over. He and his wife, his ex-wife Sabra, we'd go to different concerts in St. Louis and Chicago and
I'll be darned.
Minneapolis, and places like that. We're big Springsteen fans, so good guy, and he actually had some success at Regina too.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So anyway, then the Hawkeye men have a trip to Champaign on the way. Sunday afternoon, 5:00, Sunday evening. Senior day at Illinois for a team that is going down the tubes fast.
9 out of 10 games that they lost.
That's pitiful.
Oh, man, I just hope they
Who would have
continue.
believed that?
Yes.
The way they started the season.
Gee, yeah.
A few years ago, Bruce Weber looked like he was going to be there for 30 years and keep right on winning, and it's
Yeah.
just been bad.
Boy, you
Well.
hate to hear the guy interviewing so down and out, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
I'd like to feel sorry for him.
Well,
But
I
No.
kind of like Bruce Weber. I mean,
Well,
I
that's-
Got
I
such
kinda
a
feel
distinctive
sorry.
voice.
He sure does, yeah.
But even he has said, the way we played, I wouldn't keep myself as coach.
Yeah,
Isn't that
he's
something?
digging his own grave there, really, because he's going to be gone.
Oh,
Well, I hope the Hawks put it to him and really send him out on a high note for
Yeah,
us.
that's true.
We're running out of time here. We want to mention the Hawkeye wrestlers finished third in duels, and the Big Ten tournament will come up in a couple weeks, so nothing to talk about there until then. The men's Big Ten swimming tournament is in town this week, today, Wednesday through Saturday, at the, I always forget the name of it, the
Wellness Center.
Recreation and Wellness Center, downtown. A lot of people in town last week for the women's version of the Big Ten tournament. They were everywhere. It had to be
They
a
were.
boost.
They
Yes.
were down to
Everywhere.
hats and jackets.
Yeah.
all
The big
over
long
downtown.
swimming
Every restaurant
robes.
was jammed.
They were, yeah.
I
It was
wonder how
good
many
for
people, if they
business.
have an estimate as to how many people that meet
Oh.
brings to town.
I don't know, but I
Pretty
bet
impressive.
it's
Yes.
something. Real quickly, we want to mention that both the City High and West High girls will go to the state tournament. They won their respective games last night. They will face each other a week from tonight on Wednesday.
isn't that something?
That is the way it should be, I think. Maybe even
the morning.
championship game.
Week from today in the morning.
Yes. The Regina boys and girls are both out. They had great seasons. The women had a great season. They ended up 20-4. The men lost a couple more than that, but they had another great season at Regina. West High boys are coming up. They are going to be playing Davenport West Friday night here in town.
But, the West City High game is in the morning, but maybe they'll get picked up by 22. I mean, that's Chandler, but
9.2?
no, yes, they have a chance at that.
I don't know.
Might be, yeah.
Joe, how we doing? Two. Okay.
Definitely
certainly
be on
be
the
on the
radio,
radio.
though.
Yeah,
Yes, it'll be in the radio.
Now, West High is going to host, again, that's this Friday night, the West High boys, who dropped to number 2 in the ratings without losing a game. They're 21-0. They're going to face Davenport West, and I should say host Davenport West this Friday night. Davenport West is
12 and 10.
12 and 10. Thank you. How did you read that on my paper?
I can see that pretty
Okay.
well.
7 o'clock game at West High. And we should also mention that the West High wrestlers took the team state tournament last weekend with 2 individual champs in Dakota Bauer and Philip Laux. I don't know how you pronounce that last name. Laux. Normally you'd say Lau, but it's
Yeah.
Laux, I think.
Okay.
And Justin Cothe got second place for the Trojans. So congratulations to West High. Bettendorf won the overall 3A team title. Having said that, we're going to have to wrap it up. Everybody watching, Sports Opinion is on every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18, and every Sunday night we repeat the show at 6 p.m. on Channel 18. You can look at it anytime on my Facebook page or the PATV.com website. On behalf of Bob Boyd and Pat White and Earl Murphy, I'm Dirk Keller saying thanks to you for watching. Thanks to Joe Murphy for putting up with us in our blue background. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, either you're a Hawk or you're not.